What's good, YouTube? DM Gaming here, guys. I hope that you are ready for this ride because today I'm going to actually cover who I'm going to be doing my rebuild with, and that is going to be the SMU Mustangs. If you're new to the channel, y'all probably didn't know that. That's what I'm going to do my rebuild with. But if you've been on the channel, y'all already know that. So EA Sports, okay, they have them rated with the number 20 overall rated offense, okay? And we did a video yesterday talking about Colorado. They got a lot of attention. Guys, one thing y'all have to understand with these ratings, the offensive power ratings, they don't take record into account with this. It's mostly, if not solely, based off of player overall. Okay. So for those of y'all who kept on bashing Colorado, saying that they was a bad team last year, the offensive power rankings is not based off of their record. It's not. It's based off of the people on their team. Okay. And their overalls. All right. And that's based off of production and things like that. So, guys, SMU. I'm not gonna talk about that, but SMU, man, number 20 on this list. And I will say this as a kind of a rant, more or less. It's crazy how people would bash Colorado for being number 8, but don't say anything about Memphis being rated higher than Florida State, Oklahoma, Virginia Tech, and USC. Make that make sense. Even Kansas. Guys, Kansas State isn't even on this list. And they're picked to win the Big 12. Kansas is on this list. But y'all love to say stuff about Colorado. That's why I believe, number one, I don't think a lot of y'all even watched the video through yesterday to even understand the stuff I was saying. But then I also believe that some people just hate on Colorado because that's what the media is doing. Like, I'm not a Colorado fanboy. I like Deion Sanders. I like him as a coach. I loved him as a player. I was a cornerback. I get it. You know, he's killing the transfer portal, whether y'all like it or not. But at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding that offensively, they got some of the most talented guys in the nation. They have one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. They have one of the best skill guys in the nation in Travis Hunter. And then Joe Horn is also a factor. And then they're adding Will Shepard from Vanderbilt, who's a viable wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? They're adding a running back from Ohio State. Like, guys, these ratings, even SMU, who I'm covering today at number 20, SMU, it's based off of player overalls. Okay? Not records. So, with that being said, my SMU preview, my ponies, pony up, baby, rate number 20 with an 85 overall offense. Okay, so I want to get some numbers out there for y'all. I get some B-roll footage for y'all while y'all looking at all of that kind of stuff. So, looking at their attendance, first of all. The stadium is getting renovations. They are doing some renovations to the stadiums, which should be ready by the football season, by the start of the season. Okay, and let me take you on this roadmap. We'll go through attendance, and we'll go through offense. Since that's when we primarily covering the defense, probably won't get into that today because it's a lot of stuff with the offense. Team schedule record, all that kind of stuff. So attendance wise, all right, SMU hasn't had a home game where they've had over, I think the most that they've had at a home game. Let's see, Louisiana Tech was 21,000. Prairie View was 24,000. All right. Charlotte was 25,000. That was the most that they had at a home game. Now, with these renovations, they are adding more seats, I think to the tune of maybe 1,300 or something, maybe an extra 1,500 seating capacity for that portion of the stadium. So yet and still, this is not going to be a 30,000 seat stadium. So for me with my rebuild, okay, I'm really hoping that I can do some renovations to these stadiums because let me add an upper deck because, guys, 30,000, I can't expect to break into the top 5 of the toughest places to play because attendance does play somewhat of a factor. I mean, Altson Stadium holds what, 50 to 60,000. That's significant, especially the way that stadium is built. So that's that. Now, looking at their schedule, all right, looking at last year's schedule for the Mustangs, okay, let's go to 2023. The Mustangs finished the year. I'm sorry. They finished the year 11-3. Okay, they finished the year 11-3, and I'll take you there. We can look at that together. .786 win percentage. They was 8-0 in conference play, and a losing streak of 1. Of course, they lost that bowl game or whatever. They were 6-0 at home. Okay, we coming into some good stuff here. You know what I'm saying? And 5-2 on the road. All right, and then 0-1 at the neutral site, which, like I said, was the bowl game. Okay, I actually went to this game here, the Louisiana Tech game. I didn't want to click on that. Why'd y'all maximize that? I actually went to that game, me and my cousin, because like I told you, he was a graduate of SMU. He played running back there from 2004 to 2008 or 9, something to, no, it wasn't 2009. He was out here before then. 2003 to 2007. He was a running back there, or 2008, because he was red shirt, actually. So anyway, we went to that game. I've gone to several of their games, but we did go to the Louisiana Tech game. Attendance-wise, it wasn't a lot of people there, but I think it still managed to be like 21,000. So it wasn't packed, but it was definitely nice. And I think the maximum capacity of that stadium is around 26 or so, maybe a little bit more than that, but I have to digress. So they opened up with a 38-14 victory, and I mean they looked miles better than Louisiana Tech, like in that game. One thing people have to understand is that in this game, the good teams are going to be good. The not so good teams are not going to be so good. You know what I'm saying? They are moving to the ACC. And I am super excited about that because, bro, I'm going to Dallas to watch them play Florida State, Clemson. You know what I'm saying? But looking at their record from last year, they lost to Oklahoma 11-28. Not a blowout, but Oklahoma was in control of that game. Blue Prairie View out the water. They're a FCS school. You know what I'm saying? They're Division I, but, you know, HBCU, Prairie View, stand up. What's up? Lost to TCU 34-17 before beating Charlotte at home 34-16. They went on a tear after that. You know what I'm saying? This game, to me, that's interesting because, you know, we'll come back to that later. Let me keep going. East Carolina 31-10, blew Temple out 55-0, blew out Tulsa. Wow, 69-10. A close game with Rice, 36-31. Now, mind you, their starting quarterback did get hurt. All right, Stone did get hurt. Preston Stone did get hurt, and Kevin Jennings ended up coming in and playing the rest of the season. He was a sophomore or freshman, I think, from South Oak Cliff. Okay, national champion, state champion, South Oak Cliff. At the time he got a ring. He's a good quarterback. He's going to be the future after Stone leaves. But anyway, North Texas 45-21, a close game with Memphis 38-34 before finishing against Navy 59-14. And then, of course, the championship game against Tulane. That was a fun game to watch. 26-14 before losing a close one. A very close game with Boston College 23-14. And that's interesting because SMU next year are going to the ACC. Okay, so looking at their schedule, okay, it's going to be interesting. I honestly think and feel it depends if Stone is healthy. All right, they can easily compete in the ACC with their schedule. Okay, so they start off with Nevada. All right, and then they have HCU, which is another subdivision team. That'll be the first home game. They're on the road against Nevada, or Nevada, however you want to pronounce it. Brigham Young, I see them beating them. TCU's going to be another challenge. Can they get past TCU? Okay, now once they get into conference play, it gets really, really interesting. Florida State, okay. Florida State is a underrated team this year. They lost a lot. They're getting a good quarterback in DJ Uga-Ungavale, but Can they put it together after what happened last year, man? That's going to be very interesting. That is a home game, and I am circling that on my calendar because I want to go and see that game. It is going to be stupid packed. They have 3 back-to-back road games, actually 4, okay? But Brigham Young is going to be a big game. TCU is going to be a big game. Florida State, it gets better. It doesn't get easier. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what condition the Mustangs go into. They're going to be tested before they get to Florida State. So you're going to know what type of team they have. When we're playing I was sitting here looking at my rebuild, dog, like, okay, and in the game, it's not going to have HCU. It's going to have like one of those generic subdivision teams or whatever. Nevada, we should walk that one. But it's going to be a little bit tough after that. Brigham Young and then TCU, bro, and then Florida State. It's going to be a challenge, man. It's going to be a challenge. And then they go on the road against Louisville and then a road game again against Stanford. It's not going to be a walk in the park, man. Stanford coming from the Pac-12 to the ACC, and then Duke with Malik Murphy from the University of Texas. He was Texas's backup quarterback last year, transferred to Duke. Duke they actually had a good season last year. They're building a good program, okay? So that's not going to be a walk in the park game, okay? And then they come home against Pitt, and then they have the rematch against Boston College before finishing off on the road at Virginia, and then a home game against Cal. So looking at that schedule, guys, they are tested early. To me, their toughest games are going to be at the beginning of the season. So if they can make it through a Florida State, if they can make it through a TCU, a Florida State, a Louisville, a Stanford, the schedule somewhat gets easier as they go, aside from maybe Pitt. It's not a walk in the park, but with what Lachey has done as the head coach of the Mustangs, I think that, man, they have a shot to compete for the ACC in their first year in the ACC. So looking at some numbers wise, I want to go through some of the numbers, okay, offensively. What scheme do they run? Okay, SMU runs a run-shoot offense, okay, with concepts of the veer and shoot. The reason why I say that is because there are times when the receivers do have those wide splits. It happens sometimes, but that's not the base of what they do. Okay, they'll run some 2x2s. They'll run some bunch. They'll run some stacks, double stacks. I mean, your traditional spread type offense, they're going to spread you out, and they're going to run the ball to be able to pass the ball. They run a run and shoot, because it deals with a lot with the choice route concepts. The quarterback has a lot of choice in this offense. But stat-wise, I want to look at some things real quick. Stat-wise, all right, for the Mustangs, 2 big-time running backs coming back in Jalen Knighton and LJ Johnson, who both contribute a lot in the run game. Camer Wheaton also did. But Knighton, okay, he's going to be a senior this year. He played in 12 games, 136 rushing attempts for 760 yards, average 5.5 yards a carry. LJ Johnson, 5.3 yards a carry, 101 rushing attempts, 578 yards, 7 touchdowns and 4 touchdowns. They want to throw the ball, okay? They run the ball to keep the defense honest. But you also have a quarterback in Preston Stone, 12 rushes for 300 yards and 4 touchdowns, okay? And then Kevin Jennings, who was the backup, the guy from South Oak Cliff, 8 games, 37 rushes, 183 yards, and 1 touchdown. So they're able to run the ball, and largely in part because they spread you out. Their run concepts, they do some inside zone, they do some counter, they do some stretches, they do some GTs or GY, whatever you want to call it, counters and stuff like that as well. Guys, if they're returning some pretty good production. I mean, 5 yards a carry from your top 3 running backs or top 2 running backs, 5 yards per carry. Okay, that's enough to keep you honest in the run game. Okay, and I expect them to have a big year with that. It really depends on the health. Now, passing wise, okay, Preston Stone, again, he played 12 games. Kevin Jennings played 8 games. He got some decent experience, okay? Ratings-wise, 161. Completion, 206 for 344. 6 interceptions. He had a 59.8 completion percentage for 3,100 yards and 28 touchdowns, okay? Guys, drawing comparison to a guy like Shedeur Sanders, y'all knew I was going to do that. Y'all knew I was going to do that because y'all talking about the boy like that, man. Shedeur Sanders passed for more yards, had 1 less touchdown, had a lower passer rating, played in more games, okay? That just lets, and I use that to tell you the caliber of quarterback that Preston Stone is. He's a dude, okay? He makes that offense run. Okay, 6 interceptions. I think Shedeur Sanders had 3 interceptions. Okay, and they're touting Shedeur Sanders as being a top draft pick at quarterback position, which he will be. He will be. Crazy thing is, this kid is just a sophomore. Somebody come get him. That is amazing. That is cool, dude. That is, I don't know why they got him right there kicking, but whatever, like that. Man, he's a young quarterback. This guy is going to be a dude for this offense. And that's why I compare him to Shedeur Sanders, because he's putting up very similar numbers, okay? Kevin Jennings, all right, the backup, all right? He's a guy as well, okay? They both are in the same classification. This kid is more mobile to me. He has a lot to learn, but he showed that he could come in as the backup and get the job done. If they have Preston Stone when they play Boston College, they win that ball game, in my personal opinion. But Kevin Jennings has been carrying most of the load throughout the spring because Preston hasn't just been 100% cleared yet. He probably will be during the summer. But this is the guy that makes that offense run. And they now have a viable backup at quarterback, okay, with Kevin Jennings. You know what I'm saying? So that's really cool. Now, the most interesting part to me that doesn't get enough credit is how they spread this ball around to their receiving core. And I'm showing you the stats here. 14 games played for all of these guys. And these are the guys you're going to depend on. Okay? The yardage, dude, the catches, it's pretty even. I mean, the top 2 guys, those are going to be your GoDaddies. The rest of them, it's spread out pretty even for the most part, okay? They don't have they have that one guy, Jake Bailey, that they go to, and he's going to be, he's a graduated senior. So 5'10", 188, this is the guy that makes things work for them. But, dude, this is cool. RJ Maryland, another guy, sophomore, young guy, tight end. Yes, the freaking tight end. And we're going to show you how they utilize the tight end here. He's from South Lake Carroll. All right, same high school that Quinn Ewers went to. Yeah, South Lake Carroll, tight end. And you may say, wow, the tight end, 34 catches, 518 yards, and 7 touchdowns. They utilize him as an H-back so that they can get him into space and stuff like that, because as you can tell, he makes it happen. It's surprising that Jake Bailey doesn't have any touchdowns last year or whatever, but 528 yards, 518, 414, 431, 425, 392, 370, and 319. They spread the ball around to these guys, and they do that with the run and shoot style of offense, all right? So the way that they run this offense, okay, this offense is set up to be a tempo style of offense. They want to create space. Okay, they want to spread you out. They want to create space. Sometimes in some formations, the receivers will have a wide split. A lot of their pass concepts, their base pass concepts are choice routes, double move routes, cross routes, sluggo, and then they also run like double post wheel concepts. Okay, the quarterback is the guy that makes this work, and Preston Stone is that guy. A lot of pre-snap reads, but they make it really simple what they do with the offense. For example, on your choice routes, let me see if I can find a doubles concept here. Yeah, let's look at this particular formation. Okay, and this is what they ran against Memphis. But looking at the particular formation, you have doubles. Okay, ball is on the left hash. You know, they may have this guy outside the hash at sometimes if they go with a wider split in some instances and things like that. Or if they want to work their tight end into this, they'll go with a tighter split and have him play that position right there. But yet and still, okay, looking at the pre-snap reads of the choice routes, the way that they call it, generally is like everybody on the field's not running choice routes, or they may, okay, but they may go left choice, or they may go right choice. And what that's telling the quarterback is where they want him to read, where they want him to read the choice routes based off of the defense is going to say, hey, if they say right choice, then his initial read is going to be on the right side of the field for those set of choice routes. The backside still can be running choice routes, but his initial read, where they're ideally wanting him to go with the ball, is going to be, if they call right choice, is going to be on the right side. If they call left, then it's going to be on the left. Okay, does that make sense? So the quarterback they make it as simple as possible so that the guys play as fast as possible. Okay, and out of their double set or 2x2, for example, okay, the choice routes vary. Okay. The choice routes, for those of y'all who don't remember, go check out the Playbook playlist section on the channel and look up the run and shoot, and you'll kind of get what I'm saying here. Choice routes vary. I mean, it goes off of what the defense is giving them. Okay, if this corner was pressing and they have a choice concept, then that guy's probably going to run a go route or something. He's going to try to beat him deep. Okay. If he's playing off, he's going to press his feet. And what I mean by that is he's going to attack that defensive back's feet, and he may cut it down and run a hitch or something like that. If the receiver's running his route and the defensive back opens up his hips, then that receiver now has a choice to run a post or possibly a corner or something to that effect. They have a set type of choice routes that they run, and it's based off of what the defensive back is doing. That's what makes Preston Stone such an amazing quarterback, because he's in this offense, he's able to make those reads just like that. I mean, it's crazy how fast, if you watch it in action, it looks like, oh, he knows he's going to this guy, but he's gone through a progression already at that point in time. They also will implement some RPO concepts into here, some glance concepts with the free safety. You have your alert concepts and your read concepts with the defensive end. Alert, I want to say, is with the linebackers, and you have another one where they'll actually read the corners. Okay. So they do RPOs in this offense. Now, the H-back, where they'll use the tight end, they will run some bunch concepts. This is a tight bunch. They'll run a bunch concept where the guy is wider, and I'll kind of show that to you there in a minute. But with a tight concept, they're able to work that tight end into the offense. Okay, same concept here. They'll put him at the H-back. Okay, instead of having him at the tight end, they'll work him at the H-back. And they'll use concepts right there to get him into open space or get him in a mismatch against the linebackers and things like that. They also utilize the run game. Okay, they'll run counter, they'll run inside zone, they'll run stretch plays, they'll run GT. Their offense is honestly, guys, very similar to how we run our own offense. One word phrase, okay? And out of that phrase, we will have different concepts. So, for example, we may call, let me think of a play. We may call like Phoenix, Black Phoenix, which is a run play to the quarterback. Okay. And it's in the gun. It's out of doubles. Or actually, no, it's not out of doubles. Let me see. Whatever, the formation, regardless, the concept is the same. Black Phoenix, one play tells everybody what to do, okay? And out of that concept, you'll have two receivers up here, and they'll have a screen concept. The quarterback can either run it with Phoenix, actually, he's running the football, okay? But there's also plays in that same concept where he is going to give it to the running back, okay? Black Atlanta, where same formation, he may give it to the running back, but he also has the choice to throw a screen to the two receiver side based off of what the alignment of the secondary is. SMU has that same concept. So I'm fully aware of those concepts. Okay. It's almost like a pre-built RPO, if you will. He can either throw the screen concept, and they do it a lot out of bunch. Let me see. Let's look at it out of doubles. Okay. This corner's pressing, this linebacker is off, he's outside. He could look out there and say, hey, we got a screen concept. Even to this side, with him backed off, he could attack the receiver's feet, get to that cornerback, and they could run a screen concept off of this. He can look at that and say, I got the screen off a snap, or if it's not there, I got a read concept where I can hand the ball off. All of this is built into one play. Or you can have the choice concept as well. So understand, like, this offense is built to move fast. One word, up tempo, turbo style. We're getting to the ball. We're snapping it. We're running it. Okay. Not so much a huddle up. Let's run this play. Now, are there times where you have to slow it down to where they have to do certain things? Yeah, there's times where you have to slow it down. But for the most part, they are a up-tempo, fast-paced offense. And I was really wanting to come into this rebuild and run some veer and shoot because I love the wider splits. Okay, try to get me a really good back that can make some stuff work and put this kid in space. Preston Stone and Kevin Jennings in space, because those guys can move. They can run. They're mobile. Okay, but actually, guys, I'm gonna probably keep the same offense that they're already running because I like it. I like what they do. They have the RPO option. Okay, they have the run game option. They have the pass game option. It's a good offense and it works. Okay, it works. Like I said, the only way that if I got a really good mobile quarterback, then I probably would transition to a veer and shoot style offense because at that point in time, I could run the ball a lot more. But they're gonna have some of those options in here. If I look in the playbook and there's no read options, where it's just, the running back, quarterback read or anything like that. But I like their offense because they do have those tight sets where they have the H-back, where you could run those triple option style concepts or stuff like that. So, guys, I'm happy with the playbook that SMU has. I'm happy with the offensive system that they have. Okay, so you're looking at an RPO concept here with the H-back, which they would utilize the tight end here for that H-back because he's athletic and he can move, he can catch, he can run. Okay, so here they're going to be reading the running back on this, or not the running back, the linebacker. I'm sorry. If he attacks, then they're going to give it. He's going to give it to the running back going opposite side. If he sits back right here, now I know that I can throw this screen out here to the receiver because I'm going to have a guy coming over to block that's going to hold some guys and things like that. So very simple concepts right there out of that H-back, out of this H-back set. He's motioning over here, a little different formation right there. Okay, you have your crossing routes. Okay, your mesh concept with a choice to the trips. This is that trips bunch set that I told you. Okay, the only thing here, okay, that I want to stress is hang on a second. This is the trips, the bunch formation. Now, one thing that he'll do, he'll run a tight bunch. Notice they have that H-back in here, okay? That's going to be your tight end. That's why he got so many catches, so many receiving yards, because SMU utilizes him in this format. Trips bunch, they're going to put that tight end in there. You don't really want him out wide, okay? You're going to hit him out in the flats, and you got a choice route by the Z depending on what that safety in the corner does. That corner bites on this, and the safety flashes over here, then bam, I can hit that post. Or if he plays in tight, now I got the corner route if the corner sits on this flat route by the H-back. Okay, you also have a choice route by the mesh concept from the J and the X. I mean, they're crossing that midfield. Those linebackers are going to have to make a choice. Also, the safeties, if the safety comes down on this, if the linebacker flows with this and the safety comes down on this, then you can got the Z. Guys, this offense is set up to make you wrong no matter what you line up in, and I love it. I freaking love it. But I want to say this. In their spread bunch, okay, ball is in the middle of the field. They're gonna want the receivers bunched up here between the hash and the numbers. Okay, instead of them lining up on the hash, setting it up from the hash in the spread bunch that they run. Ball is in the middle of the field. That bunch set is going to be set up between the hash and the numbers, and the J is the one that's going to set that up. All right. If the ball was on the right hash right here, then that same bunch, instead of it being here, is going to be between the numbers and the sideline. Okay. Now, if the ball is on the left hash, then yeah, the bunch set will be set up right here. Okay. Does that make sense? And then you got your vertical choice route concepts here with the H-back in there. So what they may say in a situation like this, okay, if they like what the defense is giving them on the left side, they may say, hey, left choice. Doesn't change anything they're doing on the back side. But now it's telling the quarterback, my initial read needs to be here because coach sees something on this side. Now, if it's not open, then you can go back to that. Okay, but everybody's running a choice concept, okay? So playbook wise, all right, I want to get into some actual playbook stuff so you can see kind of what I'm looking at here. And let's go to shotgun trio, because that's going to be the formation that they utilize out of trips. And we'll kind of go through this. So picture this. I'm looking at here, RPO bubble screen, for example. Okay. If the ball is in the middle of the field, remember the alignment that I told you. Ball is in the middle of the field. Okay. I'm looking at this particular formation. So the trips is going to be to the left. Okay. Ball is in the middle of the field. That trips is going to be set up right here. Okay. I'm going to have my J right here. And then I'm going to have my Z and an F. I'm probably going to have my H back in on this particular play because it's a wider set screenplay. Okay, so picture this formation here. My ball is here in the middle. They're going to be lined up between the numbers and the hash in this particular formation. Okay, they're going to be lined up a good ways. It's not going to be right here on the hash. They're going to be further out. Okay, they may even be lined up on the numbers if you want a wider split, putting them on the numbers. But a concept they can run would be that RPO halfback bubble screen where, okay, I'm reading the linebacker. If he comes down and attacks the running back, I can throw the screen concept. I don't see in this particular, there goes the mesh. Okay, there was that same mesh concept that we saw. I'm not seeing you have read option in there. I'm not seeing any choice routes on here. Okay, but understand, when we get the playbook, when the game comes out, I'm going to go through the playbook and you should see a lot of choice route concepts. Okay, but you do have your counter plays out of here. Now, what you will probably see, okay, because even out of the trip set that SMU has, they will run a sort of pre-snap RPO concept. It's not RPO in the sense of after the ball is snapped, you're reading. It's more of a pre-snap read. And excuse me, picture this. They'll come out. The offensive line, they'll do the same thing every time. They'll run a counter concept, let's say. The running back runs a counter concept. But the receivers, instead of them just running down the field, they're going to run a bubble concept. He's going to block, he's going to block, he's going to run a bubble concept. They do that every play. We have the same thing, and we call it, we call ours, what do we call ours out of the shotgun? Razor, laser would be the formation. We have the same concept, but it's out of doubles. We can run it out of trips. But I understand it because we run the same concept out of shotgun where the offensive line, they're blocking like we're running scat. Okay. Whereas in the corners or the receivers, when it's in the gun, they're going to automatically run a screen concept. And the quarterback has a pre-snap read to where if those guys are backed off, then he has a choice. He can still hand the ball off and run scat. Or he can throw the screen to the receivers, okay, to the receiver if the corners are backed off, maybe 8 yards off the ball or something. It's a pre-snap read, so it's not RPO. It's a little bit different. RPO happens after the snap. There are some pre-snap reads that go along with it, but it's also post-snap. You have choices to make. This is a little bit different where you have a pre-snap choice to make. And they're backed off. Hey, I can run that screen concept all day. If they're 8 yards off the ball, hey, throw the screen. We'll keep on throwing it, okay? And the linemen are going to run scat, and the back is going to run scat, okay? He has to expect the ball at all times, kind of. Does that make sense? So they do have those choice routes in here. Shotgun trio is that formation where those receivers are out there. You're not going to have an H back in here because they are wider, kind of like a veer and shoot. You're going to have a lot wider splits. Okay, another concept that they'll run is the stack, and that is going to be out of shotgun. They call it on here. They don't call it stack. They call it double flex. Double flex isn't the stack. This is just the two wide receiver look, the doubles. Okay, where you don't have the H back because the receivers are going to be wider. Okay, I don't think they have any choice routes in this as well. Right here, they have a wide receiver option, but that's with one guy. With these choice routes, and I'm interested to see how they're going to handle that in the game, you're going to have concepts like this. I mean, not like that. I'm sorry, like this, where everybody's running choice routes. You know what I'm saying? So I'm interested to see how they're going to incorporate that into the playbook. But yet and still, you're going to have some of these same types of concepts. If we go find, let's say, the halfback counter, okay, GT or something like that. For us, we would run a scat concept out of this. But instead of the wide receivers out here, you would have a slot where you would have a tight end and a Y, okay? And then you'll run that same scat concept, okay? But these receivers here will run that screen concept, and the quarterback has a choice. Okay, very similar in SMU's offense. They have those same types of choices built into their offense. Okay, so it's very fast, and this is why they're able to move fast. So let's say, for example, they call Phoenix, Black Phoenix. Okay, so now they have the option to run the ball. The quarterback can give it, they can run it. The linemen are going to block accordingly, but these receivers are going to add in a screen type concept. So now you kind of have two plays in one. I can give it to the running back and run scat all day, but I also have the option to run a screen. So you have two plays built into one that allows them to move very fast, line up very fast. Everybody's doing the same thing all the time, and the defense is always going to be wrong. Okay, so that's out of that double set. Now, they do run a stack concept, and that is out of doubles stack. That's what they call it here. Now, what they call it in College Football 25, I don't know. Now, double stack is very interesting because you keep the same concepts. You can run, they do run a single stack also, where it's just stacked to one side, single receiver. I don't know. Oh, man, I didn't mean to close out of that. I don't know if that playbook, let me pull that back up for a second. Hang on. Okay, we was in shotgun, double stack. Let me pull that up. Now, they do have a single stack. I don't know if they actually have that formation in here. Stack. You looking for stack, split, wild, offset, spread? I don't think they have that particular offense in here where you have that stack with the single receiver. I don't see it. No, that's trips offset. But SMU does run a stack concept with the single receiver side, where they have a stack on one side, single receiver on the other side. But they also do run a double stack concept as well. And they run the same thing. I mean, it's the same concept. Look right here. 45 base dummy. Now look at it in this concept. Let's say we're running scat left. You're going to have a screen concept with both of these receivers or both of the stacks, be it a single stack or a tight end. They'll add a tight end on the single stack where they'll stack the double. Tight end will be away. Okay, and they'll single receiver side. You can run scat out of that concept. You can have a screen concept built into it. And then you also have your option concept built into it as well. Sluggo, all of those things are on the table. The offense is designed. It's designed to be fast and give the quarterback options. RPOs, okay, choice routes, pre-snap reads, and things like that. I am super excited to play with SMU and play with this offense. Like I said, I really was going to change to a veer and shoot because I like an option style game a little bit. But I think I'm going to keep what we have, okay? Now, what am I going to be? Am I going to create myself as the offensive coordinator, or am I going to be the head coach? You know what I'm saying? I don't know that yet. I don't know that yet because SMU's defense isn't the best. So I think I want to be the head man and kind of dictate what we do defensively. And what I can probably do tomorrow is cover what I plan to do with SMU's defense. And what I'm going to have to do is go and look at their defensive personnel and say, okay, this is the the defense that I want to run based off of this personnel. Looking at their schedule, kind of seeing who's going to be the top dogs that we're going to have to play against, like defensively. What do these teams in the ACC mostly do? And based my defense off of that, because the goal is to win the ACC. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to look into, or I may do it this evening. I don't know. I'll start looking into it now. And if I feel confident in the material, then I'll present it to you guys today. So if you made it to the end, I appreciate it, man. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Doesn't cost you anything. Just click the subscribe button and it does me a tremendous help. I'm excited to do this rebuild with SMU. Man, hopefully I can add to the stadium. Hopefully I can get it into the toughest places to play. Hopefully I can get us ranked. The goal is to win the ACC first year in there. That is going to be a very difficult challenge, especially starting ACC playoff with Florida State. But it is going to be a home game for us. So, guys, hashtag made it to the end. If you made it to the end, I appreciate the support on the channel. Till next time, thanks for watching. Peace.